All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Ilya Lubish, and I manage the Federal Work Study program for the university. And today I'll be talking to you about summer federal work study, how it creates opportunities, and how you can make the most out of your summer with federal work study. So let's get started. Go to the first slide. So at a glance, Summer Federal Work Study is a $5,500 award, and it's a use it or you lose it award. It is not a block grant. Rather, it is a earnings subsidy for your employer. You can use it between May 18th and August 29th, and you can earn the full 5,500 between that time, or just part of the money at that time. Now, federal work study is part of your overall federal financial aid package, and also your Harvard financial aid package. And you should know that federal work study has no effect on your grants or scholarships. The only thing it affects is your term time work expectation and your summer savings expectation. Pretty much what federal work study does is it makes you more employable by reducing the cost of employment. And it is only available to U.S. citizens for work in the United States at eligible organizations that we'll talk about later. Next slide. The application process. So the first thing you need to do is indicate your interest to the Student Employment Office that you'd like to be considered for summer federal work study. And you can do that at our website. And pretty much what that does is once you submit your financial aid renewal application, we'll put your application toward the top, calculate it first, and try to get you a decision. You will also need to complete the FAFSA, it's the free application for federal financial aid, and you want to do that as soon as possible. Deadlines vary between state, but you definitely want to have it done by May 1st at the same time as your financial aid renewal. Decisions will begin on a rolling basis starting in early to mid-May. So I understand that since federal work study starts on May 18th, this could be a little late, but the earlier you submit your forms and documents, the earlier we'll be able to get you a decision. All right, so let's talk about a little bit about eligible employers. So federal work study and summer federal work study are really meant to employ you at nonprofit organizations, so they're called 501c3 organizations, and for them the split is either 10%, 25%, or 30%, with the federal government covering the rest. There's also a payroll tax that's attached to that of about 7.7%. At state, local, and federal government agencies, the split is 70-30. And for-profit organizations, and this is a rarity, if their business activity is related to your concentration and career goals, you could use your federal work study program money there, but that would be a 50-50 split rather than a 30-70 split. Now, positions at religious organizations are somewhat limited, but if they do not involve the construction, operating, or maintaining any part of a building used for religious worship or sectarian instruction, then you can use your federal work study money there. But for example, if you're training to be a chaplain or a pastor, you would not be able to use your federal work study money there. All right, so to give you an example of how federal work study can help you out, so on the left is work study employment. You can earn up to $5,500. The wage range is $10 an hour to $13.50 per hour, and you can work up to 40 hours per week. You cannot get overtime as a federal work study program employee. The employer is generally responsible for about 37% of your wages. That's the 30% plus a 7% payroll tax. So for example, if you earn the maximum per hour of $13.50 per hour, the employer is actually only responsible for $5.09 per hour, so that makes you really attractive from a cost standpoint. If you earn the full award, the employer pays just over $2,000, whereas you earn $5,500. So it makes a big difference both for you and for the employer. The federal government, as part of your financial aid, will cover the remainder. Now, on the other side, traditional student employment, there's no earnings ceiling. There's no wage limit, so you can negotiate your own wage. But the employer pays 100% of your wages, meaning you cost more to employ. If you were to earn more, if you were to participate in federal work study and earn more than $5,500, the employer would need to make up the difference without a reimbursement from the government. All right. So where have Harvard students worked in the past? A variety of organizations. Locally, Mass General Hospital, the Boston Children's Hospital, the Boston Mayor's Office, for example. You can also work anywhere on campus, at a lab. Students have also chosen to work in their home states, for example. We had a student work at a New York University lab. We had a student work in the Hawaii Department of Education, which is pretty cool, and also attorneys general's offices throughout the country. So on the slide there, you see just a few of the places where you can work. Now, the administrative process of how it works from our end, if it's an on-campus job, then your supervisor or payroll administrator will take care of most of the paperwork they might need to get you hired. You also won't have to supply any additional documentation to them. But if it's an off-campus job, and we encourage you to find an off-campus job that works for you, you'll need to register the job at the Student Employment Office website. It's a really short form, and then we will send your employer an agency agreement, which pretty much just outlines that their responsibilities are responsibilities and billing responsibilities down the line. The Student Employment Office will hire you on Harvard's payroll, and you will submit your time on a weekly basis through Harvard's PeopleSoft system. And we will download that time, send it off to your employer for approval, and provided they approve it, we will pay you out on a weekly basis. At the end of the employment period, the employer will be billed for their share of earnings. Now, how do you find a job? If you already have found a job, you can apply federal work study towards that job. That's a nice benefit for your employer, a cost savings that they might not have expected. You can find a job through the Office of Career Services. For example, they have a lot of internships. They have 3 or 4 databases that are all connected, which you can search for an internship or a job. The Student Employment Office also has a jobs database that you might have used to find your term time part-time job, but we also have summer opportunities available. Not as many as OCS, but they do come about. Or you can use your federal work study money to create your own job by searching for organizations at which you'd like to work. That's a particularly interesting way to go about it because you essentially come with some funding, which again reduces the cost of your employment and makes you a more attractive candidate. So that's how summer federal work study works. If you have any questions, you can get in touch with us you can call me at 617-495-2587, or you can email the Student Employment Office at seofwsp@fas.harvard.edu, and we will be glad to answer your questions, or stop by the SEO anytime, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We're at 86 Brattle Street. One thing that might be useful as you're looking for a job, if employers aren't quite sure about how our program works or how it can help them, you can direct them to the website that you see on your screen, seo.harvard.edu/off-campus employers. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we're going to be posting this online both on the Student Employment Office Google Plus page and also on YouTube for later viewing. Thanks again.